it's a rat. We're going to make a sign that says that. Come and take it. So you can see that the
We are well protected.
God bless all of you for being here today and protecting our Second Amendment rights.
Say hi, Noel.
Hi! I'm recording you guys. So it looks like there's a lot of people here so far. I'm really happy to see this turnout. So hopefully we'll see more people. It's only about 1 o'clock right now.
But Ohio Government is dedicated to holding politicians accountable, especially after the day of election. We've been getting bombarded with phone calls, emails, Facebook messages, and the like, saying, what the heck do I do? We've got one organization endorsing Mike Klein. We've got Mary Taylor on the other hand. How the heck am I supposed to make a decision in this upcoming Republican primary?
Go up here, Noel.
We're a 501c4 organization. We don't endorse candidates, but what we do is an aggressive candidate survey program. We want to know exactly what they will do if they're elected. If she's elected governor, will she sign the bill that Governor Kasich says he will not sign, which is Stand Your Ground Law? Anybody here a Stand Your Ground Law fan? Yeah. We're going to ask her right here now a couple of these questions that matter a lot to gun owners like you and me. We're going to ask her. I'm just going to read through them. Let me go through here. But the whole intent and purpose of this survey program is so that if she is successful and she reneges on her campaign promises afterwards, we have it in black and white. We can hold her accountable. We can say, look, you said this and now you're lying. So this is a hardcore survey. Not weak-kneed, gun rights candidates don't like this stuff. And we're going to ask her these questions right now. We're going to give her an opportunity to sign it. We're just going to do it right from her on the spot. That's what we gun owners want to do. Right? All right. So the first question is, I'm just going to go through them one by one. There's 9 of them, so hang on. I'm going to give the pen to her, and she can check each one of these as we go through it. The first question is, if elected governor, would you sign into law legislation to implement no permit necessary constitutional carry, which would allow law-abiding citizens to carry firearms concealed for self-defense without government-issued permit or training cards? Folks, 12 states already have this, and so our question is, Mary, will you sign this into law?
Yes.
Number 2, here's a big one. If elected governor, would you sign into law Stand Your Ground legislation, strengthening Ohio's self-defense laws by restoring the duty to disprove a self-defense claim to the prosecution, creating an enactment clause, eliminating the so-called duty to retreat that is so offensive, and allowing the use or threatened use of deadly force if an individual is attacked in a place they have a lawful right to be? Will she do what Governor Kasich refuses to do, yes or no?
Yes.
Number 3, we're 2 for 2. We're doing good. If elected, would you sign into law a bill to render unconstitutional federal gun controls unenforceable in the state of Ohio with strong enforcement provisions such as the firearm law legislation to allow law-abiding and legally eligible citizens, including students, to carry concealed on state-run colleges and university campuses? Folks, this is in consideration in a lot of states right now, in Florida and elsewhere. But it's a widely known fact that state universities and college campuses are target zones for helpless. So that's 8 for 8. Number 9, if elected, would you sign into law legislation to strengthen our state preemption laws with stiff penalties for violators like the city of Cleveland or the city of Cincinnati, these municipalities that are going out of control, that organizations like Ohioans for Concealed Carry have been forced to spend a lot of money litigating against? Will you put an end to that by putting teeth into our preemption?
Yes.
And so now is the big question. She's answered yes on all this. Will you sign your name and date this thing?
Absolutely.
So the question being, running for governor this time around. You got one right here.
I do not believe that arbitrary age restrictions solve any problems as it relates to the types of unfortunate situations we are seeing and tragedies we are seeing across our country. So to me, when you have an age restriction, it's arbitrary. It doesn't prevent or stop anything that it professes to prevent. Absolutely agree.
Said he would veto a standard ground bill, but this is ridiculous in and of itself. Where someone poses a threat to your family's life, we have this right, Mr. Kasich. Maybe he needs to be reminded of a thing called self-defense. Our Second Amendment was never meant to be regulated. We are out here trying to be law-abiding citizens, carrying by your laws, trying to be respectful of those laws, and where does it get us? Our rights are inherent rights, and they were never intended to be regulated. But they are, and were never intended. But they are trying to do just that, and most gunners I know are trying to be law-abiding, responsible. However, the criminals are not. Most gun owners I know aren't acting that way. I find it ironic that the legislative lawmakers have at their disposal the means to track, record firearm sale, and will simply change the way that we purchase our weapons. Then they will not have a clue how many guns, the brand, the make, the model we will have. So they realize they have all their abilities, and they will lose all of that. They are going to lose all of that if they choose to make this.
People have never talked, have never done that. They don't really fully understand it. The reason I came back to teaching after 10 years off, I missed it. And the reason I was able to do it for 23 years on my second stint was I just enjoyed it so much. You really get attached to the kids. Those kids you have in your classroom, day in and day out, they really do become like your own. That's not just a cliche. Anybody any teachers out here? Let me see a teacher. We got a few teachers. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? They're like your
Some
own.
folks, I passed this little card out here. It's a comparison between Mary Taylor and DeWine. DeWine, lifetime F rating from NRA. But somehow he got the Buckeye Firearms endorsement. How do you think that worked?
He bought it.
Pay off there? Mary Taylor's been 100%er, and I can tell you when I served with her in the legislature, she's 100%. Everything she said up here is true, and that's the type of person we want there in governor. She ain't got the big money like the establishment's given DeWine. And we'd like to have him out here today, but he probably couldn't make it up these steps. But anyway, his time has come and gone. He's been in there for 42 years. So, let's get some fresh face in there that can do something decent. Now, I've been thinking a lot about this Kasich gun ban that's coming. If you saw what he said, is he wants it to start in the House. Why does he want it to start in the House? Well, let me tell you a little story. 2 years ago, we had a great pro-life bill. It started in the House. We sent it over to the Senate. The Senate put something in there with a little tiny expenditure. It came back to the House. We voted it, and then the governor vetoed everything we put in it in the House out. That's why he wants this gun control to start in the House. He'll give us stand your ground. He'll give us everything we want. And then we send it to the Senate. And they'll put the gun control in with that tiny little expenditure. It'll come back to the House. We pass it because, of course, it's got stand your ground in it. And then he'll veto all the good stuff out. That's how it works. That's why we got to be vigilant. And if any of your legislators say, well, it's just a little thing, say, don't you remember what happened to the heartbeat bill? Don't you remember how you got stabbed in the back and they betrayed you? Remind them of that. Because all that politicians care about is their pension and when they grow up one day to be a congressman or senator or something. And you keep reminding them of that. You know, we can take you out. We put you in there.
Preach it.
Now, I like the fact that I got into this game a little late, so I won't be one that gets all the pension money and stuff like that. And there are a few of us out there like that, because we come from the private sector. But there are a lot more that are in there. Again, all they care about is how do I get more years in the PERS, and how do I grow up to be a congressman or a senator or something else. So you got a lot of pull with these guys and gals by just keeping in touch with them, calling them. Go on that party website you have in your county and see where they're having those fundraisers and those spaghetti dinners and all that stuff like that. Because that's kind of where they hang out with all their buddies. And just remind them, we put you there, we can take you out of there.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
you do that, that's what they listen to. It's the kind of music they need to hear. Final thing is, just like this car, take a picture of it and post it on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, any of that stuff. You know these videos, I know the guy up before me, I didn't even catch his name, but he told a kind of interesting story. There he is talking, and not listening to me, but that's all right. You know, people watch that stuff. They really do. So if you got a real interesting one of those signs that say, you know, have a picture of the Nazis killing all the people who they took the guns away with, post it up there. People see that stuff reverberates through the internet and through Facebook and all those things, and they make an impression. Don't underestimate the power of social media. It's not just all about the kids in Hollywood. It has a tremendous influence, and you know why? That's why communist China is trying to shut it down among their own people, because they know how powerful it is. So when Chris Dorr gets up there and gives his little speeches, which I listen to, you know, that makes a big difference. A lot of people are paying attention to that. And don't hesitate to like it, because when you like it, somebody else gets it, they may look at it. So remember that. Don't underestimate it. And the best part of it, it's free.
Yep.
Just got to click a few things. So anyway, I just don't want anybody here to leave discouraged. We're among great people. We know what's going on in the legislature, but we need your help to keep pushing the people who are waving and looking to be a congressman someday, or want to keep that PERS running. That's where you come in. But you do have some great folks in the General Assembly who are also in there, and that little angel on their shoulder and saying, you know, watch out. I was just there with lots of people who, they're going to remember how you vote on this.
And this is Representative John Becker. But this is one of the guys that you need to be in contact with on a constant basis, because they're sitting there with their thumbs on top of House Bill 201. These are the people that got to move it. That's the committee. And depending on how this leadership election shakes out, he might be the new chair of the House Federalism Committee. Anyway, say a few words for us, would you?
Thank you. I'm John Becker, State Representative from Claremont County. Now, I fully support 201. All the gun bills that move the ball down the field in the right direction, some of them take you all the way to the goal line to score, I support every one of them. I am all in. Now, sometimes what you guys do, as we're hearing a lot in the news about the school shootings and guns in schools, start going to your school board meetings and ask the board members these questions. What are you doing to keep guns out of school? And if they say something like, well, we got a sign on the door that says no guns allowed, ask them, how is that keeping guns out of school? And if they say something like, well, we got a see something, say something program, how is that keeping guns out of school? And if they say something like, well, we have an SRO, well, you know, that's great, but, you know, logically, you might be the first guy to take a bullet, and let's hope it never happens. Then, how are you going to keep guns out of school longer?
Here who cling to your guns and religion?
Yes.
Good. Me too. All the way. I got to the house 15 months ago, and
very first bill that I dropped just after that was the bill stopping sanctuary cities in Ohio. And so now I'm the co-introducer of Stand Your Ground, so I'm really popular up here. It's really an honor to talk to these kind of people. This is flyover country. These are the people who elected Trump. These are the people who really matter.
Yeah.
The bureaucrats, the lobbyists, don't matter. We matter. This is who matters.
Woo!
So this is the face of a woman who carries. And so I'm a legislator who's a woman who stands for the Second Amendment. What does that mean? You know, nothing empowers women more than carrying. And so firearms protect me against offenders. My husband is not always with me. And so, you know, the left, they have a lot to say about the right to choose, you know, the right to choose. But the truth is, they want to take away from me my right to choose to carry. How's that for equality? It's not their job. They don't get to do that. It's my right as an American to keep and bear arms. That shall not be infringed. It's the right of my dignity as an American. And it is incredible when you get into politics. And I ran for office for the first time. I've never run for anything in my life. Incredibly, I won. But how few people really know the Constitution.
That's right.
Now, in my opinion, I don't think there's a war on women in this country. That's just me. I think there's a war on men in this country.
That's right.
There is a war to disarm me as a woman. There is a war to abort. Half the babies are women. But there is no war on women in this country. We have great privilege. And so the government wants to deny me the right to defend myself, and that is not the job of the government. The Constitution was written to the government, not to me. Congress shall make no law. You stay out of the business of the people. That's what the Constitution is. And so they don't get to make that decision for me, because I was born with the right to carry.
That's right.
You know, the founders would have wondered why, in such a time of violence that we now live in, that right now is the moment that our Second Amendment right is under such attack. Because you know what? A month ago, we weren't really having this conversation. And all of a sudden, a 15-year-old on television, who would just as soon be eating Doritos and playing video games, wants to tell me that my Constitution needs to be changed. Really? We are not sheep. My father was a farmer, and he always taught me that sheep have to have someone in front of them. They follow the shepherd. If you get behind sheep, because we always had cattle, you can drive cattle anywhere. They'll go because you get behind them. But if you do that with sheep, they'll go everywhere. They have to follow someone. But we are not sheep. We do not follow everybody who thinks they're going to get on television and tell me what the founders knew was true, and that is I was born with the right to protect myself. A little over 18 years ago.
Closer to the mic. Speak up. Speak up.
Sorry. So, a little over 18 years ago, my parents made the decision to be Remington. Never guessing that I'd be standing here in front of you today, just after my 18th birthday, to admit for our firearms. My parents were not super into guns when I was born. It's really just a happy coincidence that that was me in Remington. Or maybe it was fate that brought us to this day. Over the next few years, my dad and I became avid recreational shooters, spending a lot of time enjoying the right to keep and bear arms. Of course, that was my dad's right at the time and not mine, yet. When I was 12, I got my Remington Target Master rifle. Okay.
was huge for me. Learning how to aim it, how to shoot it, and how to load it. I was fascinated with how it worked, how to clean it, and how to use it safely. Then I got my PK-380 and I learned how to shoot a pistol. That was just the beginning. Well, of course, then I got an AR. Actually, if I'm being honest, I got several of them. Even if they're what he said. They are perfect. I have trained in multiple pistol and rifle classes and even done some custom work on my own guns, like adding bling to my pistol and sweating my AR Tiffany.
Yep.
So here I am before you now with all these wonderful guns, but up until now they have all been bought through my dad. Before this year it was his right and not mine. Well, that's changed now and I am 18 and you can better believe I intend on purchasing more guns. I intend on using my rights to make firearms. I have waited a very long time for this day. I have worked very hard at learning how to use my firearms safely for defense and recreation. I will not stand by and have politicians decide that all of a sudden I can't buy a rifle. Do they want me to be left defenseless while they have armed guards at their sides? I remember from my government classes that this is a republic and not a monarchy. I will not be a victim just because some politician wants to be in front of the camera with an idea that sounds good, but in reality it makes no sense.
That's right.
Even worse, it doesn't do any actual good.
That's right.
I will not let them leave me defenseless in this dangerous world. I will not sit back and be treated like a criminal just because other people have made bad choices. I will not stand by quietly while they remove my God-given right as an American.
That's right.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where facts are secondary and scary words mean everything. Just because those words may scare some people does not mean my generation should be punished for the actions of a few bad people. I choose to stand up for my rights, and I choose to stand here today and ask you to stand with me and everyone like me who still holds the Second Amendment dear to their hearts. We must stand together to stop fruitless acts on our rights and freedoms. We must stand together and work on the problems we are facing and not demonize a gun for the sins of evil people.
That's right.
In the famous words of Charlton Heston, from my cold dead hands.
Preach it! All right, our next speaker is Gary Witt. He's the Legislative Director for Ohioans for Concealed Carry. This group right over here. Please welcome him. He's going to give you a little update.
Thank you, Chris. I want to thank Carolyn, Chris, and Chuck for putting this on. I'm proud.
Yeah.
I'm proud and what a day. I was sitting in a chair before the speaker started, and a woman come up to me and wanted to give me some Mike DeWine campaign literature. I politely refused and said, not his record.
Yeah.
She says, he's got a name record with the NRA. Well, I was listening to Mary Taylor talk, and I started thinking about that. I think, well, maybe I misheard her. Maybe she didn't say Mike DeWine. So I'm thinking about this and playing the tape back through my mind, and yes, she was saying Mike DeWine. So I had to ask myself, what planet is she on? I don't think it's the same planet I'm on.
No.
You know, there were 8 school shootings in Ohio since 2003. We hear about Florida, we hear about California, but there were 8 school shootings in Ohio since 2003. 5 of those shootings were by people under 18 who could not legally possess a firearm in the first place.
That's right.
2 were by adults and 1 was unknown. Now, we got some knee-jerk reactions in our legislature. Senate Bill 260 proposes a criminal analysis laboratory and mobile units.
No.
It proposes a firearm and transaction database.
Nope.
it defines assault weapons that fit the majority of firearms. What does Senate Bill 260 do that would prevent school shootings?
Nothing.
Nothing. What it would do is make felons out of most, if not all of us, for the weapons that we own. How about some real common sense things? How about schools enacting anger management classes for their students? As I go through the list of shootings, I see things like arguments escalating into firefights.
Yep.
How about teaching these kids, giving these kids the tools that they need to deal with life?
Yep.
Not deal with prime numbers.
Yep.
How about enforcing the existing gun laws that we have?
Yes.
Instead of passing new laws that do absolutely nothing but make some people feel good.
That's right.
Folks, Google Ohio Legislature. Go to the Ohio Legislature website. Find out who your representatives and senators are. Get in touch with them. Find out what the bills are. We have bills out there besides Senate Bill 260 that are to restrict your rights. Fight those. Make your opinions known. Call people. Your voice is important and it does make a difference. I've seen it make a difference in bills that we have worked with. Call your folks. Thank you very much.
Well, I think I'm going to have to charge Gary for any damage done to this podium. I'm kidding, Gary. Powerful. Thank you, Gary. Gary puts out a lot of good information, man. We appreciate it. I'm going to move on now to...
Well, thank you, everybody. Ohioans for Concealed Carry was started in 1999 by a couple of guys gathering petitions and gun shows for Ohio to have a concealed carry law. This was achieved in 2004, and ever since then we've been fighting to expand gun rights for law-abiding citizens. We actively advocate for better gun laws here at the State House, and we have a history of winning lawsuits against municipalities who violate ORC 9.68 with their illegal gun ordinances. Our most recent wins have been against the cities of Oakland and Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's the state Supreme Court. We also have our annual picnic in the park in Liberty, Ohio, and our annual fundraiser Fun and Gun this year is in southwestern Ohio at the Clinton County Farmers and Sportsmen Association on April 29th. If you like what we do, come out and support us, please.
Yeah.
Have a fun day. We shoot IDPA scenarios, and it's a lot of fun. With the recent school shooting in Parkland, California, the anti-gun has once again acted with their predictable knee-jerk response. They want to ban guns, long guns, short guns, handguns, ban 18 to 21-year-olds from owning guns. The list goes on and on. And there's hardly a word about securing the schools and making them safe. When our governor goes to work each day, he's protected by armed guards.
That's right.
When our legislators go to work in that office tower across the street or in this State House right here, they're protected by armed guards.
That's right.
Our children more precious than our legislators. And less of our legislators is not more.
Yeah.
Why isn't their safety being considered? We need to ask this of our legislators. Instead of common sense protection for our schools, we get Senate Bill 260, which will literally outlaw every semi-automatic in existence, from AR-15s all the way down to little purse guns like a Smith & Wesson bodyguard or a Ruger LCP.
My husband, he was like, no, that's not.
This is too ridiculous to be considered. Yet it lives in this State House right now, and it'll be going through the committee process soon.
Yeah.
We need to step up and put an end to this nonsense, folks. That's right. I ask you to attend the hearings if you can. Write your senators and your representatives. Make your voices heard.
Most importantly, vote. Contact your candidates, learn their positions, and educate them if necessary.
Yep.
Get the word out about the good politicians, and also get the word out about the bad ones.
That's right.
Our governor, who while running for office said he made a mistake in his single-handedly saving the assault weapons ban of 1994, and he signed every pro-gun bill that the legislature has passed him so far, has now said he will sign no more. He's throwing his lot in with the Andes, and once again thinks that we the people have too much freedom and ought to be disarmed. That we should become subjects rather than free citizens. A free man goes armed. A subject does not. I claim my rights as a free man, as we all do here. It's time to stand up for liberty, one and all. Thank you for coming today. This is truly something to see. Let your efforts begin here, not end here. This is the beginning. Stay in contact with your representatives. Make your voices heard. Thank you.
So I grew up with a very strict discipline for firearms, a very, very big respect for what they are. 260 is, it's written for obvious reasons. Look, I believe that we have an enemy, and I don't believe in speaking about it on any other terms. No one is going to take away your right to defend yourself that is not your enemy. It doesn't matter if they're elected to a seat. It doesn't matter if they're elected to represent us. If they even entertain 260, they are the enemy of the American people. 260 is proof. It's absolute proof. I don't need to come up here with a bunch of exaggeration or hyperbole. It's proof that in our so-called leadership, in our criminal governance, which we've seen locally when it was Blackwell and CoinGate, we understand that we elect people that then commit crimes and work counterproductive to our freedom. For every person that's standing here today, we also understand that you represent more. You represent your family, you represent your friends, you represent your co-workers. All of us would rather on a Saturday be enjoying the time that we can spend with the people we love. It was our politicians that forced our hand to stand here today and say, just like you've heard other people say, you will not take it other than out of my cold dead hand. You will not infringe on these rights. These are rights that are given to us not by you, not some body of men. They were given to us by God. And by God, we will keep it and defend it. God gave his angels swords for a reason. Because you have to defend. And if we have to defend, if we recognize that position, then we have to recognize that we have an enemy. Now, I believe the people that have spoke here today. I believe them when they say that they will uphold our rights. I believe that. And I also know that it is our responsibility to make sure they do so.
Yeah.
For a long time in this country, Bill, when I read this, these are the words of Adolf Hitler. History shows that all conquerors who have allowed their subjects, races, to carry arms have prepared their own downfall by doing so. Think about that. He said if you allow the people that you govern to carry arms and then you start to treat them like how we may be treated now, if they still have their arms, you've doomed yourself. It's absolutely right. If you haven't had a chance today, look around at the crowd, look around at the people that are standing here with you. These are free men and women, ladies and gentlemen. Free men and women. Big welcome. Justice Felix Frankfurter said, "This is how gun rights are taken historically from every nation." I want you to ask yourself if this starts to sound familiar. They say heedlessly at first, and it looks like a positive, progressive idea. I want you to know this was written over 50 years ago. Then stealthily, they use it as a way to keep you safe. And then finally at the end, brazenly. Well, I gotta ask, when you look at this Senate bill, does it seem pretty brazen to you?
Yep.
Yeah, and maybe, if that's the case, then we're towards the end. We're past heedlessly, right? And we're past stealthily. They're not even trying to hide it. Ladies and gentlemen, my countrymen and women, I want you to consider you do have an enemy. They are working hard against you. They're not being stealthy. They're very brazen. And the fact that they would even write this legislation, I consider a traitorous act. I don't know if you're with me, but that's what I have to say. Freedom, one more time. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Freedom! Thank you.
I would hate to be the guy who has to follow that speech, so I'm going to pass the buck. And I'm going to call up here one of my good friends in the state of Ohio. As you all know, if you've watched our videos, you know that I haven't lived here very long. My wife and I only have one of our 6 kids that was born here in Ohio. But Ron Hood I've known for several years through various different connections. But Representative Hood has been introducing constitutional carry back in 1995 when it was not called constitutional carry, when it was called Vermont carry. But he's always been one of the stalwart pro-gunners here at the Ohio State House. I'm going to let him come up here and talk to you guys. Representative Ron Hood. Get louder than that.
It's great to see you all this afternoon. Thanks for being here. Thank you for making this the safest event in Ohio today.
Yeah!
We know how this works. More guns, less crime.
That's right.
Okay? Less guns, more crime. We've seen the studies. We've seen the statistics. We've read John Locke. We know how this works. We know how this works. We saw how border counties in Ohio were much more dangerous because of the laws across the border, and how criminals would all they have to do is cross the border into one of our border counties, commit a crime, and then retreat back to one of the other states.
That's right.
So we've seen the evidence. We know. I'm preaching to the choir. I know you all know how that works.
Yep.
Well, when I was first elected to the legislature back in 1994, I was asked by several good law-abiding gunners to introduce a permit system to allow us to carry concealed. And I started scratching my head a little bit, and I said, well, explain that to me. He said, well, we need a law where the government, where we have a procedure by our government that allows us to go in, talk to our sheriff, and say, hey, I'm a good guy. I'm going to prove that to you and issue me a permit to allow me to carry. And I started scratching my head and said, wait, I can't support that. I said, I already have a constitutional right to carry. Why would I go to my government for permission to carry?
That's right.
And besides all that, we already have a law where if I just open my coat, I'm legal, but I button up, and then all of a sudden I'm illegal. And how does that work? That's a coat tax to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was asked to do this bill, and I said, wait a minute. I think I should be. I believe I should be allowed to carry without asking for my government's permission. Yeah. And these folks told me, keep in mind, I was 25 years old. I was just elected to the legislature. I was as green as grass and wet behind the ears. You know, I didn't know any better. Okay. And they said, well, Vermont. Whether you can do that in Vermont. I said, you can in Vermont? Okay. I would have expected a state like somewhere in the South or something, but I was Vermont. Okay. So Vermont, you have this freedom in Vermont. So I said, well, why don't we do 1995, I introduced the what we called at that time, the Vermont-style concealed carry. And and then we even had our little stickers that said, "I want Vermont." And that's what we called it. And I thought, wow, well, we already have a state that has this, so why can't we pass it? Well, of course, this was back before we even had a may issue or a shall issue or a permission issue, or whatever you want to call it. And so I introduced the bill. We had other bills going, and at that time we couldn't pass any bill. We couldn't pass a may issue, a shall issue, constitutional carry, you name it. Well, then time went on, and then we started. Eventually, there was finally a shall issue bill passed in Ohio, but then they put a bunch of restrictions in it. And if you're charged with this crime, you're not allowed to carry, or if you've been seen with this person, you're not allowed to carry, or if you've been convicted of throwing a glass of water in someone's face, you're not allowed to carry. I mean, you name it. I mean, if you really look and understand the way the law works, there's all these reasons why you don't have a right to carry. So now, once again, I've reintroduced this year. It's called House Bill 201, along with my good friend Representative Tom Brinkley from Cincinnati, who you heard from earlier. Once again, let's get constitutional carry. Right. We have 12 states. Yep. We have 12 states that have already passed constitutional carry. So it's not just Vermont anymore. And yeah, now we call it constitutional carry. That name has evolved, I guess, for the better over the years. And I have introduced that bill in every single legislature that I've been elected to. I will continue to do so until we finally have constitutional carry in the state of Ohio. Woo! Yeah! The problem, though, is while we're trying to go on the offensive, then all of a sudden something like Senate Bill 260 pops up in order to put us back on the defensive again. And now, that is the critical time right now is that we not only defeat that bill, but any other bill that comes up that is going to take away our gun rights. Now let me tell you, I've been interviewed by the media numerous times over constitutional carry, more than I can care to ask. And I'm asked all the same questions. Well, aren't you worried that someone's going to use that gun to commit a crime? Like, or aren't you worried that someone's going to shoot up a school, because we've seen that? Or aren't you worried someone's going to shoot up a cafeteria or a McDonald's? So wait a minute here, wait a minute. I have the answer to that. If we would just, I don't know why we haven't done this in Ohio yet, because other states I think have done this. If we would just pass a law making murder illegal, then maybe we could all sleep at night and realize we don't have to worry about anyone getting murdered anymore. If we would just pass a law saying a 15-year-old psychotic nutcase that happens to steal a gun, you're not allowed to shoot up a school. Well, gee, if we just passed that law, then we would all feel much safer. And no, look, I said, wait a minute here. What criminal? I know what it is. No, here's what we need to do. You know those little signs on the businesses that say no guns allowed in here?
Yep.
If we would just pass a state law mandating that those signs be bigger, then the criminals would see them, and then we wouldn't have to worry about people taking guns in places they shouldn't be taking guns, right?
No.
No. Once again, think about this for a minute. How many laws against law-abiding citizens are going to change what criminals do?
Not one.
None. Absolutely none. But every time we have another incident where someone does something that's just, and quite frankly, it's because this nation is turned against God. That's the reason why this stuff's going on.
That's right. Woo! That's right.
That's the reason. So if we don't fix, we have a spiritual problem in this country.
Right.
If we don't fix the spiritual problem, we continue to go on and on and on and on.
Woo! Yeah.
So let's get on our knees. Let's get on our knees and pray to God that He has mercy on this nation, that we turn back to Him.
That's right.
That's the answer to what's going on. Because I had a legislator once tell me, you know, these instant check systems are really working. We had a few thousand people that were denied on an instant check system. I'm like, whoopee! I can pillow my head at night now knowing that every single one of those criminals that were denied in an instant check system, and some of them might not even been criminals, they were probably just unfairly denied.
Yeah.
But every single one of those criminals that actually should have been denied, we now never have to worry about them getting a gun by any other means again. I mean, we can all feel safe that there's no other way to illegally obtain a gun. So here I am. Here I am. Let's assume I'm dealing with. I'm standing here. I'm dealing with a criminal here. He wants to cause harm against me. So, but he's on his way to shoot me or kill me or whatever he wants to do. And he's halfway to my house and he has to turn back and go back home because he forgot his permit. How is he going to legally get to my house and cause havoc without it? It's illegal, so he has to go back and get his permit before he can do that. I mean, what criminal thinks that way? And you know, I feel so, and it's such a tragedy. These people that lose their children and lose their relatives and lose their loved ones in these acts of violence, and then they come out and they call for gun control. I weep for them. I mourn for them. I know they're going through pain. I know they're going through pain. We need to pray for them. We need to ask God to supernaturally touch them. But passing more gun laws is not going to make us safer. And we know that. We know that. We already know that. We need statesmen that will stand up in all 50 states and around the country and in Congress and make it absolutely crystal clear that guns are not the problem. The problem is we are a nation that has turned against God. We have turned our back on God. We have said we can do it our way. We don't need God. We can do it our way. And now we are facing the consequences. We took prayer out of school. We take prayer out of the public square.
That's
and
right.
what happens to our children? They are spiritually bankrupt.
That's right.
And that is what we're seeing. And that is what we're seeing. Leave the law-abiding citizen alone. Let us have our firearms so we can defend ourselves. And yes, defend the children of those who don't believe we should even have arms.
Woo! Yeah.
But it is up to us. It is up to us to have faith in God that He will give us the strength to fight and endure. And this fight passes on from generation to generation. We don't fight a battle politically and say we've won, and then we go home and we celebrate. Freedom, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And we will have to fight. We have to train our children to fight and our grandchildren to fight, and on and on and on, from generation to generation, if we're going to keep the Republic free. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you today.
All right, that was fantastic. Our next, I think we got one more speaker before I'm going to try to throw a few words together. But this is the other joint sponsor on Stand Your Ground Law. He's a rock-solid conservative. He's also one of the joint sponsors on the life conception bill, which I'm also pro-life. But Representative Neil Vitale.
To make today. Am I coming here or am I going to the IDPA match? I know. The problem is if I don't come here and you don't come here, then there is no IDPA match.
That's right.
That's what we're facing.
Go cars on the 25th. You're invited.
Okay, thank you. You know, it's tough to do cleanup. You guys have all heard it before, so I'll try to give you a few new things to think about. As some of you know, I'm an NRA instructor, concealed carry instructor. My son's Ohio's youngest pistol instructor in the state of Ohio. We teach about 300 to 400 people a year, and I'm one of those people who doesn't like the fact that you have to come to some schmuck like me and get a license to carry a gun. Why? It's, as many have said before me, it's our constitutional right. And what we have to realize with whatever bill we come up with is people have been killing people for a long time. Anybody know the first one? There you go, Cain and Abel. I knew this crap would get up together. So, just a quick word about that Second Amendment. There's been a lot of heated discussion about it. And as you know, it's part of the Bill of Rights. Representative Dean mentioned Patrick Henry, who is my absolute favorite, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, as you know, that's part of the Bill of Rights. Patrick Henry and his gang, the Anti-Federalists, who I would consider myself one of today, said, we're not going to sign that Constitution because we think that crazy general government in Washington, D.C. is going to get too powerful. Think they were right? They were right on the money, right? So they came up with these 10 amendments. First 5 words, Congress shall make no law. The right of the people shall not be infringed. So when somebody says to you, Congress has got to do something, what do you think they should do?
Nothing. Shut up and go home.
Congress shall make no law. The right of the people shall not be infringed. It's simple. It's not one of the enumerated powers. And anybody who thinks anything different doesn't believe in the U.S. Constitution and how this country was founded. So keep that in mind. Now, if California wants to ban AR-style rifles or New York wants to have their crazy 6-round limit, let them, but I don't want to live there.
That's right.
Okay? It's a states' rights issue, and that's why we are here today. Let's talk about Ohio. Our Constitution, which is where this resides, right up front, Article 1, Section 4. This is like barely 50 words into the Ohio Constitution. The people have the right to bear arms for their defense and security. Second Amendment tells Washington, hell no. That's what the Second Amendment does. It says it's not in your purview. Our Constitution here in Ohio says we have the right. It grants us that right. So the people who do write these bills like 260, they're going against the Constitution that they rose their hand and said they'd swear to uphold. Here's some problems in Ohio's law. I have 5 boys. I have a rule about being a father. You must be present to win.
That's right.
You got to be around. You got to be with your kids. You got to be teaching them what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
The family is our smallest and best form of government.
That's right.
Period. Not this place. Certainly not the place on the Potomac. I call it Mordor up the Potomac. So, I take my kids where I go. I go get gas. I walk into the Quickie Mart with my 4-year-old. Gunfire breaks out. Well, I got my Glock 19 on me, but according to Ohio law, I have to somehow scoop up my 4-year-old and try to run to some escape in the back of the store because we have a duty to retreat in Ohio. Really?
No.
Well, what if it's a law-abiding concealed carry holder that defends his kid or stops the killing of other people? Right? I'll give you a stat about that in a minute. So, I'm not one of these political types. I've only been doing this for 3.5 years. We make brake parts. I work at a factory in Urbana, 45 minutes from here. And, you know, I thought all Republicans were pro-gun.
Yeah.
What I realize is that they should remove the D and the R next to the name and put L for loser until they prove otherwise. Patrick Henry said, guard that liberty with preciousness. And I'll tell you, it's more true today. That's why you're only seeing, what, 3, 4, 5 legislators here today? Where's the rest of them? They're at lunch, eating something, I'm sure. 99 members of the House, 33 of the Senate. None of them. Where are they? Where are they? They're not defending our right to protect ourselves and our children. That's right. I've tried to make amendments to the floor to change some of these laws. Leadership and other Republicans call themselves pro-gun and pro-conservative. They've tried to bully me. They've tried to come up to me before the floor vote and say, please don't offer that amendment. We'll work it out. We'll fix it in the Senate. We'll do this, we'll do that. And then nothing ever gets fixed. I stand up on the floor, I try to make amendments, they don't call on me. That's how much they care about our personal protection and our gun rights. Thank you. Even my rights are infringed in this House. Your House. Our governor has said he won't sign our Stand Your Ground bill that Representative Keller and I have written, along with Ohio gun owners. Why not? It's in perfect alignment with the Ohio Constitution. You know, the Constitution that Governor Kasich said he would uphold, and he's turned into a traitor to us. This building behind you. Amen. This building behind you, criminal protection zone. That's what I call them in my classes. You paid for it, your taxpayers paid for it, and you can't go in that building with a firearm. I can't go in that building with a firearm.
Criminals don't obey the law.
Stand your ground. 15 of the 66 Republicans in the House signed on as co-sponsors. 15 out of 66. Don't forget that number of election.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true under red, white, and blue, and there's never a boast or brag. Good old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on that grand old flag. You're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true under red, white, and blue, and there's never a boast or brag. But should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.